What's up everyone, and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Daniel Cormier on Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. UFC Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier weighed in on the upcoming UFC 303 bout between Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler in a recent episode of Good Guy Bad Guy with Chael Sonnen. The former double champ believes that Chandler won't utilize his wrestling during the bout. He expects Chandler's experience in gassing out against Dustin Poirier will discourage him from grappling.
Michael Chandler needs to use his wrestling. Michael Chandler fought, and then he did it against Dustin Poirier, and he got tired, and then Dustin submitted him. And because of that, he will never go back to that well. He knows that fighting in the stand-up fight, you get less fatigued, and while you do run the risk of getting knocked out, you're not going to feel that fatigue. Chael, and you and I both know that fatigue that wrestling in that octagon can provide, where it just really makes, when it goes sideways, right? When the takedowns are harder than you expect them to be, when it's harder to keep the guy down, when you don't get to take that breath, when you score the takedown, it's hard. You start to question, why did I take this path? Michael Chandler did that against Dustin, controlled him bad in the first round, was winning the fight. Dustin ends up submitting him. He won't wrestle him. And I think, honestly, that's why he's fighting Conor McGregor. Because Conor's going to get a guy that's going to stand with him. And that means that Conor will have an opportunity to try to knock him out.
With 4 of McGregor's 6 losses coming by submission, and his most exploited flaw being his wrestling, many fans see this as Chandler's route to victory. Chandler is a 2-time Big 12 silver medalist, picking up the collegiate medals in 2008 and 2009, respectively. Staying on the feet with McGregor could be risky for Chandler, however, with 19 of his 22 wins coming by way of knockout. Only time will tell how the fight will play out, with odds makers having it tied up. McGregor and Chandler are set to throw down on June 29th from Las Vegas. Next up, let's take a look at Stipe Miocic will beat Jon Jones? Former UFC light heavyweight champion Quinton Rampage Jackson is going against community consensus in his pick of Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. While many people expect champion Jones to beat 41-year-old Miocic easily, Jackson, a former opponent of Jones, feels that it won't go that way. Speaking with Miocic on the Jackson podcast, Rampage said,
"I think you would be the first one to beat him.
You're damn right, will be.
I just feel like I just feel like he might not have a chin based off the way he fights, because he makes it so hard for people to get in close enough to punch him. His whole style was putting his fingers in your eyes like this, and then kicking your knee back and keeping you away from him. He keeps you at his length where he wants. And you're a taller guy. You got longer arms than most people he fights and stuff like that. So I don't think he can do all that to you."
Jackson has long been critical of Jones since they shared the cage in 2011. As mentioned, he feels that Jones uses illegal or immoral tactics to negate his opponent's strengths, namely eye pokes and oblique kicks. Jones and Miocic are not yet set to fight, but the fight is expected to take place in the fall of this year, with Jones saying that there is a verbal agreement in place. Next up, let's take a look at Colby Covington talks about Sean O'Malley. In a rare moment, former interim welterweight champion Colby Covington showed respect to fellow fighter Sean O'Malley on a recent podcast appearance. The welterweight contender is usually known for trash-talking any and all fellow fighters as a part of his heel persona, but broke character as a guest on the Rush podcast. On the show, Covington praised O'Malley's unapologetic persona, as well as his fighting style, going as far as to label the bantamweight champion as an all-time great.
Not really, because I don't have any friends in the UFC besides maybe Sean O'Malley's cool. I respect that kid a lot, but yeah, he's not afraid to dye his hair and care what people think of him. He puts his hair pink. He doesn't give a shit, but he doesn't care. He goes out there and he shows them who he is. He's an all-time great. He's undefeated. He's the champion of the world in the bantamweight division. So I just like his style. I think he's got great style, and he brings something unique to the business that a lot of these fighters don't do. Like a lot of these guys, they're just fighters. Oh, I'll show up. I'm gonna fight. They have no intellectual depth. They have no thinking where they're more than just a fighter. They can sell these fights. They can create business for the UFC. So that's what Sean does, and that's why I respect him.
O'Malley is expected to next take on Merab Dvalishvili later this year, while Covington is currently unbooked, despite numerous callouts from Ian Machado Gary. Next, let's take a look at Khabib reveals bad news. It wasn't a good day for Khabib Nurmagomedov. According to a report from MASH, the UFC Hall of Famer allegedly owes the Federal Tax Services in Russia over $3.3 million US. According to sources, the department blocked the accounts of Eagle FC and other companies Khabib owns. Russian authorities allegedly suspect that Khabib used the money he didn't pay to taxes to purchase hotels and startup companies in Turkey and the UAE. Khabib's uncle, Magomed Nurmagomedov, gave a statement claiming that the report was false, according to Match TV. No confirmation has been given by the official department in question. As of writing, Khabib's uncle Magomed said the report is false. There is no such thing at all. This is fake. Match TV quotes Magomed Nurmagomedov. Fans and media chimed in, suspecting that we might see Nurmagomedov return to the ring in order to pay back his supposed debts. Here's what the MMA community had to say. We getting the Khabib comeback before GTA 6. Time to get back in the cage, bro. I see why Humble Goat promotes crypto scams now. Next, let's take a look at Cory Sandhagen reveals plans after Umar Nurmagomedov fight. With many fans criticizing his upcoming matchup with Umar Nurmagomedov, Cory Sandhagen addressed why he took the bout. In an interview with MMA Junkies, Farah Hanoun, Sandhagen explained that the UFC presented the bout as a title eliminator and made it clear that he would be the undeniable contender for the belt should he win.
That I went to dinner with the UFC. They offered me Umar, and I was like, that's a little bit down in the rankings. And they were like, well, it would be #1 contender fight. And I was like, okay, absolutely. And then obviously that one got scrapped. And then this go around, they relayed to me I don't want to say the exact quote, but it was something along the lines of, look, I don't know how you won't be next after Merab if you win this fight. So and also who else is there really that can even do that? I also think that me and Sean is a really huge fight. I'll be rooting for O'Malley in the next one. I hope that, and that's one that the fans want to see really, really bad, and I really want to give the fans what they want.
Sandhagen and Nurmagomedov are scheduled to fight on August 3rd in Abu Dhabi. Sandhagen is riding a 3-fight unbeaten streak coming into this bout, most recently beating Rob Font by unanimous decision. Nurmagomedov, meanwhile, is unbeaten in his 17 career bouts and looking to catapult himself into championship contention. Next up, we have UFC fighter breaks silence after UFC 301 loss. In the wake of his razor-thin title loss at UFC 301, Steve Erceg gave his first social media statement since the bout. On his Instagram, Erceg thanked his fans for their support and announced his desire to compete at UFC 305, which is scheduled to take place in his home city of Perth. One fighter already throwing his name into the mix for a bout with Erceg is fellow title challenger Kai Kara-France. He expressed his desire for the fight, telling Sky Sports New Zealand,
I feel like Steve would be a great dance partner. Somewhere close to home. He's from Perth, so I know the hometown boy will get a lot of hype. Fans want to see him fight, and he held his own against the champ at the moment, and arguably won that fight. A few decisions, if he did differently, he probably would have had it in the bag. But yeah, he showed a lot of skills that I was impressed. I even messaged him, said you should be proud of that performance. Yeah. So there's no animosity when it comes to Anzacs or guys from this side of the world. It's just you got to give props where it's due. To get to the title, you want to fight the guys that just fought for the title, and that's the pathway. So yeah, if he wants to get it, Steve Erceg, let's settle it in Perth. And
Erceg and Kara-France have yet to cross paths inside the octagon. While Erceg made his promotional debut less than a year ago, Kara-France first announced himself as a contestant on season 24 of The Ultimate Fighter. Since then, he has gone on to challenge for the interim flyweight title, but came up short against Brandon Moreno. He's currently in the midst of a 2-fight skid, but beating Erceg, who holds momentum after his recent title challenge, could be the road back to the top for Kara-France. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at Bobby Green sends a message to Dillon Danis. Lightweight contender Bobby Green warned Dillon Danis about the dangers of trolling real fighters compared to trolling his followers. Taking to Instagram, Green posted a video tagging Danis and making his point clear.
Dilly, I keep telling you, there's a difference between this internet, between followers and likes and comments, about a bunch of niggas you don't even know, and then just real life. Like, there's a difference. I'm really him, like, in real life. You talk about the followers, so cool, that follower shit, yeah. But in real life, I walk in a room, nigga, and every nigga give me a dap, nigga. Every nigga pull up on me and say, nigga, bro, I respect what you do. In real life, really him. It's you? Nah. Every nigga, when you come in the room, nigga, every nigga try to get on your head. That's what I'm trying to say. In real life, bro. In real life, it gets you on camera running. In real life, I'm just saying, hey, just respect you. Nigga, I'm your daddy. Respect your daddy, nigga. I put this work in. Respect your daddy.
Danis, who's been inactive in MMA for almost 5 years, has previously spoken about signing with the UFC. Recently, he posted a now deleted tweet that hinted at possible interest from the UFC. Should he do that, we may see him take on Green, who would seemingly happily oblige. Green is coming off the back of a dominant unanimous decision win over Jim Miller at UFC 300. Danis' last ring appearance, meanwhile, came in the boxing ring. He took on WWE star Logan Paul at Misfits X Series 10, losing by disqualification in the final seconds in a critically panned performance. Dana White gets roasted over his comments about the WWE. During the press conference after the fight night in St. Louis, Missouri, Dana said that he doesn't mind UFC fighters doing a match in the WWE and insinuated that Vince McMahon had been holding him back. Here's what Dana had to say.
Do you think there's a possibility for like some UFC guys to go to like a pay-per-view and make appearances or compete or anything like that?
Well, I didn't know that, but yeah, I would do anything for Derek Lewis. I really like Derek Lewis a lot. So, and listen, some of the fighters who fight here, you know, have always dreamed about doing a WWE match or whatever it is, and yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I didn't have a problem with that when Vince was consistently f***ing me for no reason, and now that that's not the case anymore, I obviously would absolutely do it.
Could we ever see you as like a special guest referee one day?
Me? Yeah, that I guarantee you will not. No, never.
Here's how the MMA community reacted to this. Why do I feel this just pours salt on the wound of the Tom Lawler UFC story? He was going to do stuff for ROH, not WWE, and was banned from doing so. One of the few bad things about Vince getting got is that worm-like scumbag pieces of like Dana White get to throw him under the bus and get a pop out of it. God forbid they want a box. Yeah, no, keep UFC away from WWE. He didn't even want Tom Lawler or Shayna Baszler to get physical when they managed Redragon a decade ago in ROH. Now he's saying he never had a problem with UFC fighters having wrestling matches while under contract. Dana hasn't built stars in over a decade. He's now using the Triple H rub to get his guys over. This is going to piss off the correct roster after a while. Top comments. Jones is afraid of Tom Aspinall. If he's afraid to lose to Aspinall, he should just retire and go away. As an old school fan, you know exactly what Bones is doing, pissing off Tom and all the trolls/casuals by repeatedly talking about Alex. I don't like inactive champions, Islam, Ilya, and Duplessis. Dana needs to start stripping these dudes. If all fighters who they talk shit about would do what Sugar does, they would all think first before they open their mouth.